Bond Factor. We are live here from SoCal on a Friday, 10 days out from the elections, which means that you need to really keep your eye on the ball. I'm joined here by Iron Mike from the Iron Fist Show, and we're talking now about Brexit. And one of the things you really need to do to keep your eye on the ball is look at what happened with Brexit, and exactly what that is. So I want to point you to a BBC site, bbc.com, which asks the question, what is Brexit? It's actually a blending of word, Britain and exit, referring to their exit from the union that was sort of a large union of sections and areas, and you can read down and see how that works. So the breakdown through the UK and Brexit was this union they were under the umbrella of, and the economy was run under Brexit. And so every time you hear the word or term Brexit, what it means is Britain exited from the union. And so when you hear it referred to, that's what it means. And you can scroll down, learn about the European Union, when they left Brexit, how that's happening, and some of the politics of what happened with that. But why it's interesting to me, and why I think it's something that you want to take the time and look at, is you can look at what's happening or happened with Brexit, and it's happening right now within our electoral system. And that is that you're going to start to hear from everyone that there's no way Trump can win, just exactly as you heard in Britain that there's no way Brexit could win, which was the movement, which is what's happening here. And actually the day before the Brexit versus the establishment election happened, they said Brexit was 6 to 12 points down. And it turns out that that wasn't true. In fact, they won, and now they're figuring out how to sort of manage Brexit and what to do with it. And you can see that in the page as well as you go down. And actually it sort of explains how long will it actually take Britain to leave Brexit, because it's a huge change and nobody saw it coming. And I'd like to go ahead and give you the thought or the idea that it could actually be part of the new world order. The globalist system took a hit with Brexit. So now moving forward, we have that same thing happening here right now in America. And it almost goes beyond that, because rather than, something like Brexit, something like a union, what we have here in America is this sort of free election system, which is totally different. And you're up against things, like the Constitution and some things like that that don't exist over there. And America is now waking up and figuring out what's happening. And just over the last, hours or days, things are coming out with this and what's going on with Brexit. So I'd like to, urge you to understand what it is, what it means, and see how that played out. And then, it's playing out right here the same way. One of the ways you're hearing it is the suppression of the black vote. We could talk about that. And, I'd like to bring Iron Mike in before we go to the latest sort of WikiLeaks dumps are going on, and talk a little bit about how the black vote is being said that Trump's only getting 8%, and some of these things that are going on that just are, it's not believable with what's happening.
Well, they're definitely trying to discourage all from voting, because at this point they could see the internals, and they can't even measure this technically, but it's a wave. And they're saying that it's actually one of the biggest supports of the African-American group since the 1960s. And that the Mexican population is going to also surprise the hell out of you. Strong Catholics, hard workers, looking for jobs. They're leaving oppression. They're leaving tyranny, dictatorship, and coming here for freedom and opportunity. And what they know, Hillary does not bring that to the table. She doesn't even know the first thing, how business works, how it's created, and how money flows, and operations, and what have you. So with that said, and then you have a majority of the group of the men, almost all, And then the support for the Republican Party is growing as well. We need to get it in the 90s. I think he's in the mid 80s now. He's climbing. So people are seeing the writing on the wall as far as Hillary's side, and the Republicans are realizing that if you go against what was sent to you, then you're going to feel the pain and the wrath for not supporting and lining up with this man. Look at Paul Ryan. He's going to be in the fight for his life for the speakership, and he's going to be in the fight for his life for his position overnight.
Yeah, we talked about Paul Ryan a little bit last week, and I'll tell you what, that guy is as much a part of the establishment as anybody that's out there.
Well, just young and inexperienced and, easily swayed. So we're going to, like Trump said, we're going to drain the swamp, and that goes for both sides of the party, and we're going to bring the bodies in that are going to do what they're supposed to do, work and be honest and balance budgets and, support. Number one is it's a team. So it's definitely, you can just go down the line and just look at just what's happening. Megyn Kelly and her position has basically ruined her viewership. She lost all that, switched to Hannity. And I know I brought that up earlier. And then you can look at others as well.
Well, hey, I want to take you to this thing now because, before we get too much into Megyn Kelly, the debate feed, the WikiLeaks thing, and this is sort of the first time we've heard this. I want you to listen to it with me here together and see what this is all about.
Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, of course, is still holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy here in London. But once again, he's proven that he's not just sitting there.
And again, this is one of the things, maybe I should lead into this a little bit, that we spoke about as we came off the break. Now, we have Julian Assange, right? Obviously, you must be familiar and aware of this person, right? He is the leader, founder of WikiLeaks, not to be confused with, Wikipedia, which some people have done. And now he is completely under attack. Hillary Clinton was accused of saying, let's go ahead and send a Scud missile or something his way, or let's go ahead and attack him, right? So now the question is sort of, where is this guy, right, Mike? This is kind of, so let's keep this going. See,
twiddling his thumbs. Not content with releasing 20,000 emails from the Democratic National Committee, Assange now says he'll be releasing more material that he says will provide enough evidence to see Hillary Clinton arrested. He's given a series of interviews in which he says that there's no proof whatsoever that the emails that he's already released came from Russian sources. He says that the DNC servers were ripe for hacking, that they're riddled with holes, and that documents hacked over a number of years are out there in the public domain in multiple copies. He says when the Clinton campaign talks about having proof that the emails were hacked by Russians, he says, I don't know what they're talking about, but they're not talking about my leak. In fact, he's quite coy about the whole thing. Of course, WikiLeaks
Well, and this is worth bringing up because, again, we've talked here on the Bond Factor about the idea that the war with Russia is a total mirage in the desert created by the establishment, created by Hillary Clinton, that there's this urgent thing and Russia's responsible for all the WikiLeaks releases, and Project Veritas is the Russians, and the voting booths are controlled by the Russians. So here's that rhetoric you can hear trying to feed into that, and obviously Assange coming out now and stating there's no Russians. The Russians had nothing to do with WikiLeaks, as I think we knew.
To create maximum ambiguity about where its information comes from. It's very hot on the protection of sources. And he said maybe one day our source or sources will step forward and some people will have egg on their faces, or read into that what you will. Of course, he's at pains to say that it's not important where the emails come from. What's important is what's in them. And what we have now, he says, is the Clinton campaign using information about past hacks to divert attention away from what's actually in those emails. But that this diversionary tactic itself raises questions. Clinton here is presented with a political scandal, and what she does is blame the Russians, blame the Chinese, according to Assange. And if she does...
Well, and I think that, again, is sort of backing up what I said, and I think, Iron, you can agree with me with this and sort of what you see, but there's no connection between WikiLeaks and Russia. There's
absolutely not.
There's no connection with any of that.
It's his own program. It's his own company. There is no connection. Russia's got their own. That thing is full of bullet holes, and they are foolish to have that server off premise, not encrypted, not protected. And
yeah, now we have the FBI coming out, and now they're reopening the case.
You have to open up the case. You know, there's law and order here. There's rules, and they need to follow them. Then they are not above the law. They're going to find out real soon. So obviously there's something in those emails that FBI has seen, and now they have triggered a reopen of the investigation, which is not good news.
Definitely not good news. And I want to take you back to the Iron Fist Show, where we have a post that's up right now about Brenda Snipes. Okay, she is the Florida, what would you call her? The Board of Elections. She runs the Board of Elections. You can see on the Iron Fist Show page, we have a article about that came up earlier today. It's mentioned in this article here, where we also talk about Roger Stone. Now, Roger Stone is fighting the voter fraud. So while, just to sort of put your head around this, just for a moment, while Trump is out campaigning, Hillary, within the last 48 hours, is in a closed-door meeting in Florida with the Board of Elections president, Brenda Snipes, doing what they do. And you need to hear about this from Roger Stone and look on the Iron Fist page and see that, because it is actually, I think it's even more damning than some of the other things going on. And you can find some of that stuff on the Iron Fist. So we'll be back. And thanks for being with us as we take a break for a moment, get our bearings, and we got a lot more to talk about. We sure appreciate it. Appreciate all you did so much.